Hi everyone, so today we're going to continue with exponents. So if you want to write lesson 4.1, exponents, and then page 30. Okay. So today we're going to talk about how to use exponents with fractions, and then I'm going to work through a couple different kinds of problems that you might see in Khan Academy. So let's first do fraction and exponents. So when you see a fraction and an exponent, the whole idea is the same, where you just multiply whatever's inside or whatever the number is times however many times the exponent says. But I want to review this really quickly in case you might have forgotten how to multiply fractions. So let's say that I had 1/2 to the third power, and oftentimes they'll put it in parentheses, and they do that just so you don't think it's 1 to the third power over 2. This way you see it as 1/2 to the third power. So we're going to write it the same way. I get 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. When I multiply fractions, all I have to do is multiply across, and that is what I get as my final answer, and then I'll have to reduce as necessary. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So 1/2 to the third power is 1/8. Okay, let's do 3/4 squared. So this is going to be 2 3/4 being multiplied together. So we get 3/4 times 3/4, and I get 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. So I get 9/16 as my final answer. Let's do 5 5/3 to the let's do first power. So this just means 1 5/3. So I would just get 5/3 as my answer. Okay, so now I went through Khan Academy and did the assignment that you're going to be completing today. And I'm just going to go through the questions that I saw and talk about them. So problem 1. It gave me 2 exponents, and it asked me to identify whether it was greater than, less than, or equal to. And my exponents were 2 to the 5th power and 5 squared, and then I just kind of had to like drag these or choose what would go here. So let's evaluate these, because it looks like, oh, 2, is much smaller than 5, therefore this is going to be the smaller one, but let's evaluate them. So this is going to be 2 to the 5th power, which is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is going to be 32. 5 squared is going to be 5 times 5, which is going to equal 25. So this here is bigger than this. Remember, when you use inequalities, as you probably remember from elementary school, the alligator eats the bigger number. So 2 to the 5th power is greater than 5 squared. Okay, next problem I saw was a decimal exponent, and it said 0.1 to the 3rd power. So what this means is 0.1 multiplied together 3 times. And with these ones, with the decimal ones, I'm totally fine at this stage in math. If you want to use a calculator to solve these, totally fine with me. So here I get 0.1 times 0.1 is 0.01 times 0.1 is 0.001. Okay, next one. Was 1/2 to the 4th power. And this one we kind of basically already did up above, but it will be 1/2 multiplied together 4 times. I multiply across, so my numerator is going to be 1. And then my denominator, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, next one. Problem 4 was the same kind of less than, greater than, or equal to, and I was given 2 to the 6th power and 8 squared. Okay, so here, just based off assumptions, I might think this is going to be bigger just based off what I saw before, and to the 6th power seems bigger than to the 2nd power. But let's go through and solve. So this is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32, 32 times 2 is 64. And then this one here is going to be 8 times 8, which is equal to 64. So these two, I would drag the equal sign there. Okay, and then let's do 2 more. So problem 5. Is going to be 0.9 to the 2nd power. So what this means is 0.9 times 0.9. And if you don't remember how to multiply decimals, how you do it is you pretend that the decimal doesn't exist. It's as if we take it out, and then we'll add it back in later. So if I were to take out the decimal, my problem would be 9 times 9, which is 81. And then to figure out where my decimal goes, I'm going to count the total number of digits behind the decimal place in my original problem. So here there's 1 number, 2 number. So that means that my decimal has to start at the end and move in twice. So I would get 0.89 as my answer. But again, if you don't want to do this, you can use a calculator. I'm more concerned about whether or not you can get from here to here, not from here to here. Okay, last problem. 4/9 squared. So we're going to do 4/9 times 4/9. And again, we multiply across, so I get 4 times 4 is 16. 9 times 9 is 81. These two numbers share no common factors. I can't reduce it, so therefore that is my final answer.